Hello, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little while, and I sincerely apologise for that. I went to record a load of stuff over the international break, and then I just didn't because I couldn't be bothered, and my motivation for making the videos after the season that Tottenham have kind of put us through has just dwindled. So instead I kind of took that decision to have a couple of weeks break and a couple of weeks off of making the YouTube videos heading into this final stretch of the season. I just needed to reset. If I'm being totally honest with you, and I think a lot of you will agree with me, Tottenham have been quite draining over the last few weeks and months. It's been obviously a really poor season so far, Europa League pending, and a lot hasn't gone to plan. There's a lot of news breaking left, right and centre that Ange is, on the verge of being sacked or will be sacked if he fails to win the Europa League. So there's a lot going on. There's been a lot to process regarding Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, but that time has come and the Premier League is back. Tottenham, it couldn't really get much worse or much harder for Spurs coming back from the international break away to Chelsea Thursday night. A really tough game at a ground that we almost never win at, and against a team that are fighting, of course, for those top four places. Whereas for Spurs, there's nothing left to fight for in the Premier League. There's no motivation to turn up and put in a performance in the Premier League unless the manager can motivate them to do that, unless he can give them a reason to say, go on, go out there and give the fans something to cheer about, something we've been so sort of void of in the last few weeks and the last few months. And we all know that the Europa League is what the season hinges on now, that two-legged tie against Frankfurt in the quarterfinals coming up very soon. I am excited for that tie because if we get through that, then, you're only 2 games away from the final in Bilbao. And they say once you get to the semi-finals, then any team in the semi-finals can win the competition. Of course, that's common sense. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really struggling to get motivated and get up for these Premier League games now. And the big issue for me is we have so many tough games left over the next couple of weeks. We've got to go away to Chelsea. We have got to go away to Liverpool. We've got a few other really tough games as well, I think we've got Nottingham Forest coming up, who are, of course, flying. So, yeah, I don't think things are going to get any easier. It'll be very interesting to see what the squad morale and mentality is like coming off of this international break. Because the thing you notice when players go away on international break is, considering the team is playing so poorly and a lot of the players in that team are playing poorly, some of them go away and they have absolute stormers for their countries. Rodrigo Bentancur is a classic example of this. He goes away and was brilliant for Uruguay, even though he's played really poorly for Spurs all season. I think that does come down to positioning as well. I don't think he plays as a number 6 for Uruguay, whereas he does a lot of the time for Spurs because we don't have that traditional number 6 in Ange Postecoglou's side. He turns up for South Korea as and when he needs to. Cristian Romero always seems to play pretty much every minute for Argentina. So, yeah, it's all a little bit sort of all over the place. But we are back. We need to dial back into the games that we do have coming thick and fast. So, focus is on Chelsea, and then we'll move aside. I'm going to the Southampton game on Sunday, and for those of you that are interested in it, the next Change for Tottenham protest is taking place on Sunday before the game. So if you're heading to North London to watch that one in person, make sure you get yourself down there and support the cause. Of course, I'm sure many of you would have seen Daniel Levy's statement regarding Tottenham's finances that came out the other day, him sort of having a cheap dig at the fans who have questioned him over the sort of last 12 months or so, suggesting that we're not spending enough in the transfer market, that he doesn't have the best interests of the club at heart. And he couldn't help himself but clap back at that, saying that he refuses to spend money that isn't there, that we've still turned over a loss. But he's like, regardless as to the fact that we're the 9th richest club in the world, all of the excuses that have been used for so many years, and the facts of the situations are 1 trophy in 25 years, sold our greatest ever player in Harry Kane a couple of seasons ago, highest paid director in the Premier League by almost double what the next highest paid director is on. I think it's on about 6 million, Daniel Levy. And, you know, firing managers left, right and centre, never picking the right guy, it seems. You know, sacked Jose Mourinho before a cup final because if he'd won it would have been more expensive to sack him. Bits and pieces like that seem to be swept under the rug and then turned back on the fans somehow. So, you know, if you are in the mood for change and it is something that you want to see, then get yourself down to the protest on Sunday for the Southampton game. But Chelsea, let's talk about Chelsea, because of course the news coming out of the Chelsea camp heading into this game is that Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke and Nicholas Jackson are all back in training, so I fully expect them to all start for Maresca when we go to Stamford Bridge on Thursday night. As for team news when it comes to Tottenham, I feel like it's very much similar to what we had before we went away. I think Mickey van der Ven should hopefully be ready for 90 minutes now, surely. You know, he's being eased back in very carefully before the international break, and now he's had another 2 weeks not with the Netherlands squad to get himself fully up to speed. So I really hope that he comes in and stays in that team now. I think Richarlison has been spotted training with the team, but we don't know in what capacity and whether he's ready to feature yet. Christian Romero, I think he came through the Argentina break okay. Looked in good spirits in the training pictures that I've seen. Dominic Solanke, I think, is all good as well. He had a nice rest for England. He was with the squad, but he didn't get any minutes under Thomas Tuchel. And I think the big one is the news on Dejan Kulusevski, which is he's out of his protective walking boot, but we don't know, as I'm recording this video, what the sort of status of his fitness is heading into the Chelsea game, whether he is back in training, whether he's fit enough to feature, whether he's still a couple of weeks away. So news may well have broken by the time this video goes out, but as I'm recording it, no update on him yet, and of course he's a very big miss, and yeah, it's going to be a shame to miss him, and hopefully he's ready for the Frankfurt tie. That is where we'll of course need him the most. I really hope he can pull through for that, but it's going to be very interesting to see what sort of a team Ange goes for, because you know, the excuses may come out and suggest that the South American boys have had such a long way to travel, as assuming son, that maybe they don't start this game on Thursday, considering we're going straight into a Thursday-Sunday pattern again. But it's a very interesting one, because there are, of course, players out of form that have been playing, and there are players that have just come back from injury who seem to be working their way into that squad and that starting 11. And now, I want to go through my team for how I think we should set up for this Chelsea game, and some of you may not like it, some of you may, but bear with me, just hear me out on this, and I'll talk about why I want this team afterwards and how I think it can damage Chelsea. So of course we'll go Vicario in goal, that's a non-brainer at this point. Jed Spence at right back, alongside Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven and Destiny Udogie. Pedro Porro would be the one that I would leave out for this game just because of the quality of Chelsea's wingers. I just think we need people that can actually defend well one-on-one, and I think out of the fullback options that we have, Pedro Porro is the weakest in that department. I would go with the midfield three, presuming that Kulusevski is out. I would go for a midfield of James Maddison in there, Lucas Bergvall in there, and Rodrigo Bentancur. I think, although he's not been great for Spurs, I think we give him the benefit of the doubt and another opportunity to put that shirt on and perform in a club setting and see how it goes. So I go with that midfield three. And now this is the interesting one, the front three up top. Now, of course, a lot of you will probably be expecting me to say Heung-min Son on the left. I'm not going to. I'm going to go with, on the left, Matthias Tell. Through the middle, Dominic Solanke. On the right, Wilson Odobert. Now, if you guys kept an eye on those players in the international break, not necessarily Solanke, but Tell and Odobert, they were both on fire for the France under-21s in the break. They both got on the score sheet in their games. I think Odobert got a goal and a couple of assists. Matthias Tell got a couple of goals as well. And I actually think, having watched him, that Matthias Tell is best off the left. And I don't think Son has necessarily been up to a level that we want or need from him so far this season, and we're nearly at the end of it. So, you know, Tell may only be here on loan for a few months, so we need to get more out of him. We need to see more of him, and I really would start him from the off. I think him and Odegaard on each flank. They're very direct. They love to take their men on. They love to create. They love to shoot. And there's no messing about from either of them. And I think with how high Chelsea's fullbacks get and how integral they are to their sort of attacks under Maresca, I feel like those sorts of players on the wings would be the sensible option, and then we'll both look for Solanke and feed him as well. That is the key thing. We know how much of a poacher Dominic Solanke is, and I feel like the players that are going to get the ball to him most comfortably are going to be Odegaard and Tel. So that's why I would go for that front three. And then Heung-min Son, there's probably not many better impact substitutions that can come off the bench and join him and join the team in the latter stage of the game. So that's why I've gone with that. You could suggest perhaps interchangeable midfield. So we could put Archie Gray in there instead of, say, Rodrigo Bentancur instead of Bergwijn. Maybe not Maddison. I think Maddison has to play because he is the gel that connects that midfield and that attack on the pitch. Without him, we just look lost. We have no creativity, just nothing about us whatsoever. And I feel like we've been missing it a lot. So yeah, I would definitely have James Maddison in there, and hopefully Romero and Van der Ven are both fit to start alongside each other and complete the 90 minutes. I know a lot of people have got their issues with Romero at the moment, particularly because of those links to Atletico Madrid and reports saying that he's perhaps already got his eye on the exit door this summer, has spoken to Diego Simeone, allegedly already ahead of the summer window opening. So yeah, if that's true, then as our vice-captain, of course, it's not really the best look. But I'm trying to just sort of ignore it for now. I don't know whether Atletico Madrid would pay the money for him, but it's a completely different topic of conversation. I want to focus on what he can do for Spurs now and on the pitch. And we know Romero at his best is a world-class centre-back. And with Van der Ven back beside him, and then hopefully two decent fullbacks either side of that pair, I just really hope that we can see a bit of momentum and a bit of confidence in this team going into the last few games. Look, every Spurs fan I've spoken to has said we will get knocked out by Frankfurt. For many different reasons. I think the main one they fear is going away to their place. Obviously, we play the home leg first in this tie, and then we have to go to Frankfurt. And people don't necessarily believe that we can build a big enough lead to go over there and hold on, or extend it in that sense either. And there's a lot of other different reasons that people think we may well get knocked out. And I agree to an extent, and I also think if there is any chance that we're able to go all the way and win the competition, we have to build momentum, and there's obviously only one competition that we can build momentum in, and that's the Premier League. And I just feel like going into that tie, what better way to do it than to beat probably your second biggest rivals behind Arsenal in Chelsea, and dent their European hopes, get one over on them in a ground that we very, very rarely perform well or pick up points in, and then it sort of rolls from there. I see reports saying that Ange's future at the club is going to be based solely on how we do in Europe now. So yeah, it's a very, very weird one coming back from this international break, because quotes have come out from Ange saying that he overshot it at the start of the season, that he didn't anticipate how damaging the 2 games a week Europe English football and the cup competitions would be on his squad. And I do find that a bit naive. And he's obviously only got a very limited amount of games to try and change people's mind now. And I think the majority of people have gone off him a lot. And, to me, the situation, the situation's bad when people are pining for Andoni Iraola, Marco Silva, Thomas Frank. A couple of years ago, you'd look at all 3 of those and you think they are mediocre managers, and I still do to an extent, for considering what Tottenham should be aiming for in the manager market. So that kind of suggests where we're at. But I'm going to try and come back from this international break on a clean slate, a fresh start, try and rebuild that positivity and momentum. And of course, if Tottenham provide momentum on the pitch, it makes us fans happier. We can get behind the team more, and they're going to need the crowd for that Frankfurt game. That's what this is all leading up to. These Premier League games over the next couple of days, if we can pick up 6 points or even a draw on Thursday and a win on Sunday, that will be a boost for the squad going into the game. And as I've said already, that's the most important thing, is getting into that Frankfurt tie and really laying down a marker and proving that we warranted at the start of the season being favourites for the competition, because we were. And of course, it's not going to be easy, and we're going to have hiccups. And Frankfurt are a much more competent side than RZ Alkmaar. But if we can beat Chelsea away from home, we can probably beat Frankfurt away from home, is how I look at it. So it's the first real test on Thursday. And hopefully a performance that gives us Tottenham fans a rare smile. But yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-2 prediction, because why not? I won't go for a losing prediction. I'll go for a 2-2. I'd struggle to see us winning. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. How do you think we will line up? How do you think the game's going to go? Have you enjoyed the international break? Have you enjoyed the break from Tottenham? I think most of us had. But it's good to be back in front of the camera, talking to you guys and getting the videos uploaded on YouTube. I will be back for some reaction, either on Thursday evening or Friday morning following the game. So stay tuned for that, and let's hope that we are finally starting a new chapter, even if it is a bit too late. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you are new around here. It supports me massively and helps out a lot. I will catch you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, come on you Spurs.